Hello and welcome to Drama at Attleborough Academy. This is your special lockdown edition of a transition drama lesson, and we're going to be looking at what we can learn from the owl who was afraid of the dark. So I imagine that a lot of you read this story when you were much younger. It was one of my favourites when I was little, and I really enjoyed reading it to my children too. So a playwright called Simon Stevens adapted Jill Tomlinson's story into a play version, and this has become a great piece of children's theatre. One of the reasons why I like the story and this play is because it teaches us not to be afraid of things just because we haven't experienced them before. Plop's mother encourages him to go out into the world and find out a lot more about the dark before you make your mind up about it. And this seems like quite a good message. So you probably read this book when you were much, much younger, perhaps even as you were starting school for the first time. But perhaps, like much great literature, the messages that this story has got might come back and be helpful to you now. So Plop's experience might connect a bit to how you feel about starting high school. We've not been able to bring you into school this year to find out more about us, so we're bringing our lessons to your houses instead. And I really hope that this remote drama lesson will teach you more about how wonderful and exciting drama at Attleborough Academy is. So we're going to have a look at the script, and the extract of the script that we'll be looking at is taken from the opening of the play. So have a look at the stage directions. You'll know they're stage directions because they're written in italics, and these are there to give the actors and designers clues about how best to move the words from the page to the stage. And we also get to meet the characters. So there are two characters in this extract. There's Plop, who's the baby barn owl who thinks he's afraid of the dark, and there's Mummy, who's a very patient mother owl. She's probably very worried about her son, but she also wants him to become independent and find out for himself that the things he is frightened of are actually wonderful. So here's the script. The house lights and stage lights are up, bright. The children in the audience are sitting around the edge of the stage. On stage there is a nest on a branch for all to see, and the top of a very tall tree in a field. Suddenly, all the lights go out. Plop. I'm afraid of the dark! And the lights on stage slowly rise to reveal a traumatised Plop, a fat and fluffy baby barn owl with a beautiful heart-shaped ruff, enormous eyes and very knackety knees. He is perched on the branch alongside his mummy. I am afraid of the dark. You can't be afraid of the dark. Owls are never afraid of the dark. This one is. But owls are night birds. Plop looks down at his toes and mumbles. I don't want to be a night bird. I want to be a day bird. You are what you are. And what I are is afraid of the dark. Plop, you're only afraid of the dark because you don't know about it. It's a phrase you're going through. You'll get over it when you grow up. What do you know about the dark? It's black. Well, that's wrong for a start. It can be silver or blue or grey or lots of other colours, but almost never black. What else do you know about the dark? I know I do not like it. I do not like it at all. That's not knowing something. That's feeling something. I don't think you know anything about the dark at all. Dark is nasty. You don't know that. You have never poked your beak outside the nest after dusk. I think you had better go out into the world and find out a lot more about the dark before you make your mind up about it. Now, Now, Plop wobbles to the edge and peeps over. The world seems a long way down. I'm not a very good lander. I might spill myself. Your landing will improve with practice. Look, there's a boy down there collecting sticks. Go and talk to him about it. Now. 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to read through the script for yourself. I'm going to read the part of Mummy and then you can read Plop in. So try and think about how your voice might sound to show that Plop is feeling anxious. Usually it would be quieter and he might breathe in strange places and speak very fast and then very slow. Actors would call this an irregular pace. The house lights and stage lights are up bright. The children in the audience are sitting around the edge of the stage. On stage there is a nest on a branch for all to see, the top of a tree, a very tall tree in a field. And suddenly all the lights go out. You can't be afraid of the dark. Owls are never afraid of the dark. But owls are night birds. You are what you are. Plop, you are only afraid of the dark because you don't know about it. It's a phase you're going through. You'll get over it when you grow up. What do you know about the dark? Well, that's wrong for a start. It can be silver or blue or grey or lots of other colours, but almost never black. What else do you know about the dark? Oh, that's not knowing something. That's feeling something. I don't think you know anything about the dark at all. You don't know that. You've never poked your beak outside the nest after dusk. I think you had better go out into the world and find out a lot more about the dark before you make your mind up about it. Now. Plop wobbles to the edge and peeps over. The world seems a long way down. Oh, your landing will improve with practice. Look, there's a boy down there collecting sticks. Go and talk to him about it. Now. Oh, well done. So we're going to have a closer look at the text. And when Mummy says, that's not knowing something, that's feeling something, have a think for the minute. And what do you think the difference is between knowing something and feeling something? Because there are things that we know for sure, and there are things that we just feel. And sometimes our feelings are in line with the facts of a situation, but other times we feel frightened of something and actually we don't need to. So how do you think Mummy should say this line? I'd like you to have a go at trying it out in different ways and see which way you prefer. So she could say it in an angry way. That's not knowing something, that's feeling something. She might say it in a kind way. That's not knowing something, that's feeling something. Or she might be really worn out because Plop has probably been worrying all night. Oh, that's not knowing something. That's feeling something. So you have a go at saying that in those 3 ways and maybe in other ways you can think of as well. And when you're ready, move on to the next slide. So, we've had a little go at acting, thinking about how you're going to use your voice for the script. Now we're going to think about being a designer. So a theatre designer would need to think really carefully about how to design a set and costumes for this play. And you're going to have a choice. So you can choose to do one of these things. If you're really keen, you can do both, but we're only expecting you to do one. So option A is to design a set for the opening scene of the play. And I want you to think about the backdrop, so that's the bit at the back of the stage, and any bits of set that you might have on the stage. So Simon Stevens gives you these clues. The house lights and stage lights are up and bright, and the children in the audience are sitting around the edge of the stage. On stage, there's a nest on a branch for all to see, and they're at the top of a very tall tree in a field. So you could decide that you're going to have them perched up high, and you could use some scaffolding or something like that to show the top, or you might just give the illusion of a nest on the floor and they can look over as if they're looking down. It's quite interesting that they say the children in the audience are sitting around the edge of the stage. So you might want to have it what we call theatre in the round, which is where the audience are all the way around the stage and the stage is like a circle in the middle. Or you might want to have it end on so that you're looking at the stage, a bit like the stage in our academy main hall would be. So have a think about what set design you would use to make it look like they're in a nest, and do a design of one of those. If you draw what it looks like and then annotate it by doing little lines and then explaining in words what your drawings are, that would be perfect. And the other option is designing a costume for Plop to wear. So it might be a puppet. So you might decide that an actor should actually be holding a big puppet who represents Plop, a bit like the picture in the corner of this slide. Or you might think that an actor could actually dress up as an owl, and you could design what their costume would look like. So the words from the stage directions describe Plop as a fat and fluffy baby barn owl with a beautiful heart-shaped ruff, enormous eyes and very knackety knees. And the one in the design is very nice, but I think they've lost his knackety knees, which is a bit of a shame. So maybe your costume would stop above the knees and somebody's own knackety knees would show, or maybe you'd have them as part of your design. Have a little draw of that, and again, if you could annotate your drawing to explain what you're doing and why you're doing it, that would be fantastic to finish off as a designer. Good luck! So we've thought about acting, we've thought about designing, and the next strand we're going to look at is devising drama. So we look a lot, about a third of all the drama work you do at Attleborough Academy will be devising, and that means you're making up your own plays rather than just using a script. So when we do devising, we use loads of different things as a stimulus or a starting point. Sometimes we have pictures or paintings, sometimes we have photographs. We might start off with a piece of music or the lyrics from a song. We might start with a sculpture that an artist has made. We might start with a poem, and sometimes we start with just a short extract of a play. And that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to use The Owl Who is Afraid of the Dark script as a springboard for devising our own theatre. If you think of a springboard as being a place where you spring off to start something else, that's how we're going to use it for devising. So we've got the ideas from that script and we're going to use them as a springboard for our own ideas. So first thing I'd like you to do to get you to connect with the themes is to make a mind map saying what you're afraid of. Here's one I started earlier. So I am afraid of rats and spiders, being alone, and the people that I love not being okay. There might be a few other things I'm afraid of as well, but those are the main ones. So if you could just draw yourselves one of those. Okay, so now we're thinking about starting school. You can probably remember your first day at primary school. You might remember how you felt. I had a terrible first day at primary school because my brother had started the year before and he cried on his way in. So I was 3 and he was 4. He cried on his way in, Rocklands Primary School. Some of you might actually be at Rocklands Primary School now. And the old head teacher there grabbed hold of my brother's hand and pulled him into school. And I let go of my mum's hand and went and attacked the head teacher, kicking the head teacher, punching him, bit his leg and said, "Get off my brother!" So when I came to start school, I knew that I'd got really told off for doing that. And I felt really nervous. So you might have a story like that. You've yet to have your first day at high school. I didn't do that, luckily, when I started at high school. But you might already be beginning to feel excited, but a bit nervous at the same time. And that is completely normal. That's how most people feel. Slightly different for everyone, but most people feel a kind of a mixture of excited and nervous. So we're going to write a play about somebody starting high school. And the first thing we need to do is create a character. So you're going to imagine an 11-year-old character who's about to start high school. They can be linked to yourself or someone you know, but I'd like you to give them a different name so they're a completely made-up person. And these questions in the pinky purple colour should help you to start thinking about your character. So what's their name going to be? What's their favourite colour? Do they have any pets? Who are their best friends? Who do they live with? And how do they feel about starting high school? You could just write down the answers to those questions. That would be a good start. And if you've got any other information about your character, you could add that too. So now that you've got your character, we're going to think about writing your own script using The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark for inspiration. So our play is going to be called The Child Who Was Afraid of High School. You're going to write a script which shows the morning before they start school. So it's a bit like Plop being encouraged to jump out of the nest by his mum. This is going to show a child and their mother, and the mother encouraging the child to go off to high school. So the first lines I've written for you, and then I'd like you to carry on with it. The stage is dark. The spotlight is on an 11-year-old child standing by a door with a huge rucksack on their back. I'm afraid of high school. You can't be afraid of high school. You have always loved going to school. And now can you write the rest of the script, up to you how long it is, that shows what happens after that moment. And if you could carry on writing it like a play, that would be fantastic. If anyone gets really enthusiastic, you could write the whole play and show what happens when they get to school as well. But we're only asking you to write that opening scene at the moment. And if you get stuck, go back and have a look at The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark script and see if it can give you any ideas. Good luck. So now you've written your script, ideally you'll be able to read this out loud with a family member or with a friend. Maybe you could call a friend via whatever technology you use and read it through with them. Or maybe you could just read it to yourself and do the different voices. So read it out loud and get their feedback and see if you need to make any changes. So as I was recording this PowerPoint, I noticed that some of the words that I put didn't really make sense. So I went back and changed it. You might like to do something similar. Sometimes when we speak things out loud, they come out a bit differently. If you want to, you could go on and record your play, or you could act it out and film it using Lego figures or other small toys. So you've had a go at being an actor, a designer, a deviser, and a script writer. And now we're going to do a little bit of evaluation and reflection, which is what tends to happen at the end of our drama lessons. So at the end of The Owl Who Was Afraid of the Dark, Plop realises that dark is nothing to be afraid of. He discovers that it is exciting, kind, fun, necessary, wonderful, and beautiful. So, if you remember the book, actually, those are the names of the chapters, aren't they, in the book? And in the play, they're the names of the different scenes. So that is what Plop discovers. And we can say the same about Attleborough Academy. It might feel really scary, and this is absolutely normal because it's new to you and you haven't experienced it for more than a short while at a time yet. But Attleborough Academy is exciting. You will learn subjects that you haven't experienced before from teachers who are subject specialists and really passionate about sharing their knowledge with you. It's kind. The staff and students are kind. We want to help you settle in and we want to make you welcome, and we will answer any questions and help you if you are lost. It's fun. The lessons are fun, break times are fun, and drama is the most fun subject of all. It's necessary. Getting a top quality education is necessary to send you off into adult life well prepared to face life. And it's wonderful. Trust me, our academy is wonderful. It is full of surprises and opportunities. And it's beautiful. Our site is beautiful. There are lots of flowers. There's a beautiful new build, and you're going to be the first Year 7 class to go in that. And I'm sure that all of you will also look beautiful in your new uniform. So, at the very end of the play, Plop says, "Dark is the best." It's one of the last lines he says in the play. So I would like you now, using your very best acting skills, to tell yourself that Attleborough Academy is the best, and see if you can do this in 10 different voices. Attleborough Academy is the best! 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 And I've lost count of how many I've done, but I would like you to have a go at doing 10 in 10 different voices to finish it off. And if you get a bit nervous, just think back about Plop. If he'd never ventured outside of that nest, he would never have had all those experiences. And by the end, he flies off into the night and he's really confident, and his parents are really proud of him. And I hope that you can see a bit of a metaphor in that, and you'll be flying off into our academy and everyone will feel really proud of you as well. So we look forward to welcoming you back as soon as it is safe to do so. Can't wait to meet you for some really fun drama lessons. Take care, have a lovely summer, and thank you very much for participating in this lesson. Goodbye.